Hi, I'm Tim from the Heresy group. Here I've got my old pair of Haix boots. Been super impressed with these. These are over a year old. They've been worn in a ton of different places, from soaking wet sites, really boggy, marshy sites, all the way through to concrete sites. They have been on my pit bike numerous amounts of times, thrashing through thorns, fields, overgrown areas, and they are in such good condition. I'm really impressed. Just on the level of wear, even on the sole of the boot has worn incredibly well. What also is really nice about these is the anti-slip. Now I know a lot of other boots claim themselves to be anti-slip, and I must admit my Harkilas are a little bit slippy for me. They can be a little bit of a hard base, but these have been very good. So recently I torture tested all of my boots. I wanted to give them a proper good clean, nick wax all of them afterwards so that they stay nice and waterproof, but I did give them a proper torture test. What does that torture test comprise of? I washed them all off with a hose, then jet washed them all off, and then I left them all in a bucket of water, like a large bowl of water. All of the boots were in there for about 15 minutes. So what I want to do now is quickly jump to that footage so you can see the results. I just done a quick torture test across a couple of these boots. We've got the Salomon GTX 42s. We've got Black Eagles from Haix. We've got the Black Eagles in a slightly different variation of material. And then we've got the Trapper Master from Harkila. Big variation in price, starting with the Haixes at the bottom, then you've got the Salomons, which come in about 140, and then you've got the Harkilas at around 400. Very interesting results. These are super old, so these have been around a long time, same as the Salomons. If you want to have a look inside, you can see very wet. So if I push that down, super wet. The Haixes, which got absolutely drenched and are actually very quickly beginning to dry. Like these are drying, they're probably the quickest. You can see this is almost dried out, this material. Little bit, maybe a little bit damp inside, but not much at all. Absolutely bone dry, probably the driest of them all. And then the Harkila is the same, absolutely bone dry. Little bit of wet on the lining at the top, could be a bit of splash, but bone dry inside. So super impressed with these, given their age and the amount that these have been worn, that they're nice and dry inside. Same with the Haixes, these have been absolutely mullered, these boots. These are fairly new, but look how impressive it is, the difference between the drying speed. The Solomon's still absolutely soaked through, as you can see, just from a little bit of water being pushed to the edges. A lot of water on the outside here, but inside obviously dry. These are drying rapid fast. And same with the Harkilas, although they look wet, that's kind of part of the material sheen, yeah, nice and dry, superbly dry inside. So a little bit of a torture test, and I will wrap this up back in the studio. So guys, as you can see, the Salomons, if your feet were in them, they were going to be very wet. Now these were really good, held up to being nice and dry inside, a little bit damp on the outside. These did take a little bit longer than the other model of Haix boots to dry off, but again, after the amount of time I've had them, they were dry, and the Harkilas were bone dry inside. From the outside perspective, the Harkilas have got a few areas where there's been a few breaks and stuff on them, but on these there's absolutely not one area on this that's broken. None of the stitching's failed. Even in some of the areas where you expect some of the stitching to come loose, there's a few like loose parts of the nylon thread, but really absolutely nowhere has failed on this boot at all, and it has been worn a lot. Not only do I wear these for Airsoft, as mentioned before, I've worn these out on my pit bike, I've worn them cleaning and working on my truck, doing DIY, doing the garden, all that sort of stuff. I wear these boots. They're super lightweight, they're super comfortable, and they're fully waterproof, which is absolutely perfect. So I've been really happy with these. Now both boots as well have also worn exactly the same. So as you can see from the inside, no real issues with these at all. No parts where the stitching or the hemwork, or even where the sole is here. I'm going to dig my nail in here. This is still bonded perfectly to all of the material. There's not been any gaps here, no break. I'm really trying to pull this material away, as you can see, but it's still perfect, absolutely perfect. So what I want to do is I want to show you these. So this is my year-old set. And I want to show you a new set just for comparison. Now some of you guys might have seen the video that me and Richie did when we got these boots initially, so I haven't opened these yet, but I want to show you them here because they are very slightly different. Only in a few tiny bits of labelling and some of the base design, but as you can see, they've worn incredibly well. Really incredibly well. Prior to my boot knowledge, I'd never heard of Haix before at all. I've been wearing Salomons, I've been dropping about 140 to 150 pounds per pair of boots, and I've not been impressed with them. So if any of you guys know about the whole thing with my Salomons, I wore them over a weekend, they got really wet, and then the following day it was boiling hot, and they dried out, and I think the material on them had got really wet and then got really dry quite quickly and closed in. And it bruised my toenails on my top three, my front three toes, and they were bruised for months. It was an ongoing joke with myself and Richie that they were bruised for absolutely ages, and since then I haven't worn them. So I started wearing the Harkilas. The Harkilas are great boots, but they're very heavy. They must be nearly double the weight of one of these. Now I haven't actually measured them out, but genuinely they're very heavy in comparison. There's another few features on these that I've grown to absolutely love, and now anything that has laces on, I want this feature. So I'm going to show you what that feature is. It's something really simple, but as you can see, there's no bows, there's no loopy laces, there's nothing to catch. Why is that? Because in the top of here is the laces that are remained over from this little toggle. So essentially, you pull the grey parts of the toggle down, you pull it down, you can loosen the boot right off. Then you put your foot in, you work your way up, getting it nice and tight. You pull that toggle down, and that locks into place then. So it can't, I'll just pull those down. If I put my thumb in there, pull it's locked into place, as you can see. What you then do is you tuck the remaining lace into the top of here, like so. You pull that over the top onto the little Velcro tab, pull your trousers down over the top, and you've got a very neat top of your boot. I've not had an instance where, and I have this a lot on my other boots, where laces come undone, I have to go down and tie them up again, they get caught on a load of bushes or branches, and the lace gets pulled out, and then you have to quickly bounce down and tie your laces up. I've not had that issue at all with these, and that's one of the main reasons that I really like them. Another key thing is this boot at the moment has never been worn, and I think it has. It's got a load of paper in the front of it. Once you pull that paper out, there's a good bit of flexibility in the front of this boot, and they do flex up really nicely. I'll show you what that's like on this one. As you can see, it's much easier to bend that forward. When you spend a lot of time taking a knee, as you will when you're patrolling at Milsims, thanks Matt, you will spend a lot of time with your foot like this. Now you can flatten your foot right out and go onto your toes, but you will always be at some point like this. Not for a substantial amount of time, but you will. So flex in the front area of the boot is really important. Just in comparison, these are not easy to bend at all. And as you can see, the creasing in the material. These are the Harkilas. A little bit easier to bend, but still nowhere near as flexible as the Haix. On the material across the front of the Salomons, you'll see that begins to really dent in there. And when you waterproof them, you'll always see really dark lines, and that dark lines is where the material is beginning to split on top, and the waterproofing will stay in those lines where it's sunken into the material. With these, you don't get that at all. So they've got a really good amount of flexibility in the front, which means they're nice and comfortable, but also if you are in that position for a little period of time, that one of the things to consider is how well that boot's going to wear by doing that. So again, there's a few slight differences between these two models. As you can see, we've got some writing around the bottom here, we've got double density, and the pattern is very slightly different, or maybe just pronounced a little bit more on this one. And if we look at the base grip on the bottom, again, very similar. We've got some writing on this new one saying Stone Shield, and then we've got durable written on the heel there as well, which isn't on the older version, but again, very similar design. There's like a year between these, so they are continuing to improve these. looks to me like the heel's a little bit higher, but it's not. Maybe this boot's just worn and narrowed out a little bit, but I'm really impressed with these. Now, I know some guys with boots are very specific. I know Richie likes a few brands of boots. He's been running these for a while. He's been super impressed with them. What I can honestly tell you is, for the quality and the pricing of these boots, I'm absolutely blown away. Now, just to be completely clear, I have been made an ambassador for Haix. Now, I was made an ambassador for Haix after I started using Haix. So I didn't start using these boots purely because I was an ambassador. I've been made one because we've done some media about them, and to be quite honest, I tagged them in a lot of the photos that we put up because me and Richie wear these all the time. If you don't believe us, you can go back through the photos on Instagram and stuff and have a look. But we have been made an ambassador for them, which is why I have a new set here. So that's just to be completely honest and clear about what's happening between the Heresy group and Haix. But in the absolute clear run and being completely transparent, these boots are really awesome. If they wasn't, I wouldn't wear them and we wouldn't work with them as a company. It's as simple as that. It's honestly as simple as that. I've been wearing these a ton, and you can look at the wear on these. You can see how well they've done in the torture test. So just to wrap this up, I've been really impressed with these boots. If you do want to check them out, there'll be a link to Patrol Store in the description below. They do loads of different versions of this. They do lows, they do highs, they do all different types of materials, lots of different versions, lots of different coloured boots. They do them in a slightly green colour, they do them in black. They just do a massive different set of versions of boot. If you do want these ones specifically, they've got quite a long name, pen and paper time. These are called the Black Eagle Athletic 2.0 V GTX Mid in Coyote. So just to go through that again, it's the Black Eagle Athletic 2.0 V GTX Mid in Coyote. Super happy with these. Any questions, comments, anything like that, put them in the box below. I'll put a link down to Patrol Store. Thank you very much to Haix for making me an ambassador for their product. I really do appreciate it. Not only am I lucky now because I've got a new pair of boots, but also these boots are really awesome. Thanks very much for watching, guys.